We create jobs and make entrepreneurial dreams come true. ACE, Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs, is a nonprofit community lender specializing in small business loans coupled with business advisory services. These are the stories of those businesses we've helped reach success and claim their American dream.
Welcome to ACE's Best Stories. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. On ACE's Best Stories, we focus on what it takes to successfully start and grow a business. And we have a bunch of really interesting stories around individuals who've decided to kind of step on their own and do their own thing. I have Mark and Teresa Bishop. They are the owners of Just Right Auto. Before we start the interview, I'm going to tell you I know absolutely, positively nothing about my car.
That's okay. That's where we come in.
Doesn't crank.
Call it okay.
When they sell them to me at the dealership, I'm like, is the engine in the front or the back? That's all I need to know. So if I have to pull over, I can put the hood up in the right place.
Where's the key fob?
That's right. So tell us a little bit about Just Right Auto. What do you guys do? What do you specialize in?
Well, we specialize in pretty much the idea was to have a shop that basically was a one-stop shop.
Okay.
I try to, if you would, don't want to use the name Walmart, but try to pretty much, when you get there, everything you needed would be done at one spot. So we opened as service first, fully anticipating doing a body shop at the same time. So we have two completely different sections that actually have to do with the automotive industry as far as service and body.
Okay.
Upholstery. When I say full mechanic, I'm talking from change your oil to change your engine, transmission.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to do everything that you need done right there.
And so whose idea was it first? Yours, Teresa?
Yes, actually, that was my idea since
yeah.
we started dating. Actually,
wow.
Yes. It was funny that when he was, describing everything that he was doing at that time at his job, he had all the experience, all the connections. He had so many years running a successful body shop here in Alpharetta. So one of my questions was, and were you waiting to open your own business?
Yeah, why are you doing it for someone else?
It's a great question. Fear.
Fear
is the number one killer of a business starter.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And
I should have done it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And didn't.
And it was funny that his answer was that he could control everything on production, but his fear was actually in the management office.
Right.
So I'm thinking, wow, interesting. I didn't say anything else. We were just dating. I didn't want to scare them.
She's been pushing them.
Yeah.
You wait until you get them hooked.
Yeah, then sink it.
But I had a engineering degree that I always tried to orientate it on marketing and the business end. And I thought, well, that was really interesting. 4 years later, we were already married and everything, and we opened our business in 2014.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a couple of years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
About
3
3
years.
years.
Yeah,
we're
going to
2017 now. Yeah.
going to the 4th year now.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So you talk about fear, and we hear that all the time. And sometimes it's fear of failure, sometimes it's fear of success. So your fear was specifically around just the overall management of the business.
Well, the fear I think for me is that I had a very good job.
Yeah.
Making very good money. I mean, terrific money. Growing with a family business that I ran in one location, which pretty much, I'd say, orchestrated the effects of the other businesses when they got the effects of what I was doing over there, kind of spread out.
Right.
And that shop right now currently has about 12 or 13 locations in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
So when I started, there was 3 and an impossibility of doing the numbers that they were looking for, or what I thought they would do. They said that was impossible. We not only did those numbers, we went beyond that in 2 years. So, like I said, I was making great money, but the fear was how the work was going to come to me. How was I going to get nobody to start this and keep it going?
Yeah.
And so that was the fear of me running it and succeeding at it. No, the success part of it, the only thing I was worried about was what was coming.
Yeah.
That's it. And so once we got through that, and Teresa was very instrumental in that. She pushed me to do that. I was like, you know what, I don't really want to do this, but I knew that if I didn't do it, I would be second guessing myself the rest of my life. So
so what did you say to him? How did you know that you had convinced him to pivot?
Always I was looking for the opportunity, if I knew it had to be with auto related business
Right.
and service provided on that end. So if I saw a building that was for rent, or normally I was on auctions, liquidating auctions, it was a auto repair. Hey, look, I can get this for this, and look at this, and I always talking about that.
So you kept introducing the idea.
The idea.
Yeah.
Actually, when he decided, I was scared. Yes, I was like, Mark, hold on, wait
a second. I
Yes.
was saying it,
Yes,
but really,
yes.
yeah.
We have to rent nowadays. I'm like, oh wait, Mark, listen, we have both. I mean,
Right.
but yes,
What was the
he
original
actually-
idea for him to start it and you to be sort of not part of it, or was it always that the two of you would do this together?
I'd say we were all in it together, but we were doing two different things, so to speak. She was still working at a job. I was working at a job. I was doing some stuff on the side at home. We were gathering. I mean, believe it or not, for 20 years I had been gathering things to do this, but never carried it the rest of. I mean, I even went as far as having a frame machine and leased it to somebody and sold it.
Right.
So I had to go back and get another one. I mean, I have air compressor. I had everything to do everything. And there was some items like, Teresa found some sales and we went and looked at them and bought some more things. And I'm thinking, man, this is, kind of falling into place. And, the idea was at first just to broker vehicles, just fix them at home. I was working out of my house, and just
so
quietly
basically like buy them out of an auction.
Bring them back, clean them up at the house. And we would do
So-
that too. We'd on the weekend, we'd clean a couple cars and get them ready. And of course I can do every the thing that helps us most, I think, in our business is, there's nothing that I can't do.
Yeah,
So I've been
it.
doing this. I'm a technician as well as a manager, so I can do everything on
Right.
it. And if somebody doesn't show up or somebody quits or whatever, I'm there and pick up the ball.
Yeah.
So that helped us out a lot in the beginning.
Well, it's a good thing. It's also going to be a hard thing, because if you know how to do everything, then
it's hard to pull away.
Yeah, delegating it to someone else.
Oh, you're absolutely right there. Yeah, it definitely is hard for me to release control to somebody else when I'm as picky as I am. I mean, I'm picky. I can't
too
say it.
picky.
Too picky. Yeah. I take a car that I
picked you.
shouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. Should I? I guess I should have been so picky. Good point. I have to bring that up later.
Whoops,
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to help
No,
with those
no.
discussions. So he decides to pull the trigger, and you're like, okay, wait.
Well, the idea was first just to get a little. We needed an office to get a dealer. You had to have an office, and you had
Right.
to have a landline. So we went after an office, and I had a friend of mine offer me an office that he wasn't using in his shop. And when I went to do it, the landlord got a hold of us. Said, "No, we can't do that. We can't sublease." So, longest story short was, he ended up showing me a corner property that had been vacant for 2 years due to a situation with the last tenant. Unfortunately, had a real bad problem, but we ended up taking it, going in there, looking at it, and going, "Man, we can't afford this." And that's
Yeah.
when the scare comes in. That's when the fear comes in. It's like, "No, Teresa, we can do this. This is only." But when you start adding that up, and you
All
start
right.
adding up all the bills, and then
Exactly. And normally I work out of a budget.
big money.
Oh, you're the
I-
budget.
Oh, yeah.
I talk
I'm
with
the free
numbers.
spirit.
Yeah.
I just run around throwing it.
You're the
Yes.
visionary. You're the
Yeah.
implementer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So so I saw everything through numbers.
Right.
Both of us, dedicating to this job, and we'd have to supply not just for the shop, also to keep the family and
Mhm.
provide for our family.
Right. Are you
And,
wanting to eat?
Huh?
You went to eat
You wanted to
during
eat?
the part of the
Yeah.
building of the company?
That we made sure we did do.
So that was the part that
Yeah,
was
the
scaring
beginning,
me.
the first year, I think it was just Teresa and I. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
And it was very hard.
I mean,
we worked so hard, so many
We
hours.
started out with a very modest amount of money. I mean, to even think about what we started with was just,
a joke.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
completely funny.
I think, in every way, we've been blessed that people that knew Mark from his old experience at work, and people that were very happy with the service, send more people, and me working on another end on marketing, trying to set up
Oh, yeah.
every single thing that I could, media or whatever, add
Website, I mean, everything.
So that in the midst of all the fear and stuff, start, working, but it was so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
for
very
both of
difficult in the
us.
beginning. I mean, we had to tackle without any income, without any money, and you're strapped. I mean, we're talking under 20 grand.
Yeah.
Talking, very little bit of money is to start a business
Yeah.
and really be going to do this.
Well, I could see that your business is very capital intensive. You've got to
Oh,
buy
God, yeah.
supplies. You have to have
Yeah,
things
equipment,
that you purchase
everything.
beforehand. and
Yeah.
then-
The good thing is that he had a lot of the equipment
Right.
already, and
Yeah.
the shop was already with the
When
lift
Teresa said it was a
and
blessing,
everything.
though, because when we went into that shop, when he showed me the shop, it already had 3 lifts that came with it, which was not supposed to be there.
Right.
So all it needed was, pretty much a rehab, redo all the floors, the walls, the bathrooms, the offices. We tore it all up. We did it all ourselves. Teresa, myself, and a good close friend of mine, or hers. That's another lady that her name's Lupe, but she helped us a lot too in the very beginning. And it was 30 days of hard, intense. I mean, just throw
Yeah.
down, chisel up tile. I mean, laying mold, everything to get it into something. But basically, we had to do everything ourselves because we couldn't afford to pay anybody
Right.
anything.
So did you pick the space and then choose like an open? This is going to be the open date. Then you work towards that open date, or did
Yeah.
you just say, well, when we get it done, like how did that work?
No. We were open from day one, but we weren't
okay. Got it.
open. We
I like
still
that.
had cars that were, things of my own. I've always had things that were our own,
Yeah.
and so we always worked on that.
So you were
End of
creating,
it.
you were still having an income while you
Yeah,
were
I
going
had
through
cars
the-
coming from my house too, and in the subdivision it's kind of difficult, especially
Yeah.
here in the South. Everything is neat and so you can't have just cars that are wrecked sitting there in your driveway unless
we-
you got a tag on it.
Homeowners Association doesn't
So-
like that.
No,
Oh,
no, they don't like that at all. So I have to nose them up to the garage real close, like nothing happened. And then in the middle of the night, whip the door open, pull it in, and take it apart. So yeah, it was difficult, but it's possible.
Yeah.
But we had to bring that
Yes.
stuff. But very beginning, we had our own stuff to work on, and people would stop in from the old business that was there. I think some of that. Even 2 years after that business was shut down for 2 years, people were still coming there.
Okay.
Checking
sort of
on
built
them.
in a customer list. So, cool. Well, we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we get back, I
Okay.
want to talk a little bit about some of the resources that you guys use.
Sure.
So, you get the business. You said it started working. How did you know it was working? So I want to know that. So
Mhm.
what was the thing that told you it was? So we'll be back in just a minute. We're talking to Mark and Teresa Bishop. They're the owners of Just Right Auto. You are listening to Ace's Best Stories. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw, and we'll be back in just a minute.
If it wasn't for ACE, my business may have closed in 1 year.
If it wasn't for ACE, my business wouldn't be expanded as much as it's expanding right now. They were there for me at the time of my need.
If it wasn't for ACE, we would not be here today.
If it wasn't for ACE, I would very much still be cooking at an hourly rate, and I would have never impacted hundreds of lives and an entire community.
I still remember going to different kind of banks, big banks, and with papers, and these people send me back because I don't have, I had experience in the restaurant business, but I don't have, everything else this bank needed. and Ace believed in me.
I did the research in Adult Day. I had experienced it personally because my grandfather had Alzheimer's. So I wanted to do the business myself, get into it because I knew I could make a difference.
Initially, when we started, there was only one person, which would be me. And then the company have grown from 1% to 8, and we provide quality assurance, quality control testing for FDA-regulated companies.
I think Grace not only completely understands what it's like to start off in an office connected to your laundry room or wherever she was, but she also understands the growth process, and I think that she does an excellent job of making sure that everybody who works with ACE has an understanding of the kind of struggles and celebrations that you can have.
ACE has helped us with putting our business idea into the market, working with us with the business, actually showing us, guiding me personally, how to solve some of my marketing issue problems or with the business planning.
You don't meet many lenders that are invested in your success. And, you know, from their classes or presentations, seminars, they really do have a vested interest in your success.
The best advice I can do to small business owners is follow your dreams, you know? Always follow your dreams, follow your heart.
Have a plan. Just because you have a passion for it doesn't mean that you can start a good business.
Get ready for the ride of your life, and definitely make sure that you look out for fantastic resources like ACE.
ACE is the way to go.
You're just the best. They really are.
And we're back. You're listening to Ace Best Story. We are talking to Mark and Teresa Bishop. They're the owners of Just Right Auto, and I shared with them in the first segment that we can't talk about cars at all because I know nothing about them, other than the fact that I like them and I drive them. I tried to reboot my car one time when the transmission went out. Like my computer, I just turned it off and on.
You believe it or not, some cars actually do need a reboot to make it move. Maybe even BMW. I know Mercedes, you can't even make it move without.
This was a car that I was driving as a teenager that is lucky that it still survived. We traded it because the windshield wiper stopped working. So anyway, my wife would have to come pick me up when it rained. So Teresa, you were
done that.
talking to me about the in the first segment. You said you were working really, really hard, and then you said. And then it started to work. We knew that it was working. Like, what was the sign of that? Were customers just magically showing up? How did you know it was going to work?
I truly believe that if you have a good campaign with marketing, then it has to be results. So at the beginning, I went with the SBDC over there in Kennesaw, and they were helping me a lot with that. So we did. I was determined to have a nice website. Actually, the first one I tried to do myself, I failed terribly.
Yeah, it's not as easy as they show on television.
I had to hire somebody to do a professional job, but I worked, so I had some presence online. If it's Facebook, Twitter, Yelp, and every single web that I thought it would help to build up a presence online. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, everyone look for this.
Did a lot of begging for reviews.
Yeah.
Yes, at the beginning.
You've got to ask.
His mom.
If they're happy, then it's really difficult to get them to write something.
Right.
If they're upset, very easy to get them to. You don't even have to ask. they're
Yeah.
going to write it for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
So,
yes.
you know,
So you
but,
got to get the person who's really
yeah,
happy.
and one of the things is that you know the one of the keys is if you know the thing something's going wrong,
Yeah.
and it's not working out, you need to finish it right there to make it right with that person, no matter what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
if you did something that isn't up to what you feel was right for that person, then you need to make it right, because even if the last thing, you don't want to have a bad review on that
Yeah.
thing. It's because it's really, I think, really important in Google.
It is really
It
important.
definitely, that's where we're located, is not right on the main street. So everything we get is through the internet, through Google,
People
through
Yes.
Yelp,
I
through
start the campaign
internet.
with AdWords also, and that gave us a lot of response.
Yeah.
And based on that and reviews, more customer were coming because they normally read reviews and go, you know, whatever they pick at the end, which I normally do. I'm
Yeah.
always buying everything that I can online.
Right.
And if I were going to engage,
Mark agrees.
yes,
Mhm.
I'm a very good shopper.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, that was one of the things that brought us into moving in more of a direction of buying and selling. I still have, you know, great daily numbers that we still see. Sometimes it's slow. We pull in cars. We you know, pull in a car and we repair the car and keep the guys going, and then put the car out for sale on the internet and sell it below retail, always pretty much at a trade-in level or something, that, you know, price level.
So is your business, tell me about it, the breakdown of it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's primarily, so is it people coming in to get their car serviced? Is
Mm-hmm.
it people coming in, is it buying cars and then selling them after they've been fixed? Like what's the breakdown of
Well,
what you do?
like, really, we started with the service end of it. So I'm going to say service and collision.
Okay.
And, you know, at first I thought we'd do more collision than we would do service, but we're doing as much service. So it's, I would say in the beginning it's 50-50. We're doing as much service as we're doing body work.
Right.
That kind of struck me as strange. But, and then coming backwards, it'd be 40-40, and then 20% we're selling cars,
Okay.
you know, in between. We'd sell average one car a month.
Yeah.
So
What's a nice diversification though, right?
it's
Yeah.
a nice little
Yeah.
bonus feature. Sometimes, you know, it's a rent
Yes.
payer or something, you know, it might just pay one of the rents, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now, you know, when we started thinking about it, it's like, well, we could have more cars. We can get more people working. We can sell these cars. So we're growing, and it's like I told Teresa, it's growing pains.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you can't get it done. You feel like you've got too much on your plate. That's good.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, that first, and you're beyond, almost beyond it, but I tell people the first 3 years, first 1,000 days are terrible. They're terrible. You work
They're very painful.
28 hours a week, a day, 28 hours a day, like you work
Yes.
all the time. Now,
That's-
if you get past 1,000 days in 3 years and you still feel that way, you may be a control freak or you have a bad business.
yeah.
So that's when you start to say, okay, we need to think about
Well,
this. So,
it's definitely a more than a 9-to-5 job.
yeah.
For sure. You're not going to,
Absolutely.
you know, I've worked, Teresa will tell you, many nights, 24 hours straight, just right around the clock and keep going the next day. And 36 hours later, go to sleep.
Well, let's say the entrepreneur works 80 to 120 hours a week to
Mhm.
avoid working a 40-hour-a-week job.
But we did have to make some adjustments to that, because obviously family and
Oh, yeah.
so we do take Sunday.
Balancing.
We
and-
and we're trying to get out of there in a reasonable amount of time. Summertime's tough because it's so long. The hours
yeah,
are so long.
right.
The sunlight's there, and you don't even realize it's 8 o'clock, and
Yeah,
you're
you're
time to
tempted.
go.
Yes.
You know. But,
So as you've grown the businesses, resources, so you talked about the SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center. So that's a
Exactly.
good resource for people to go
Yes.
to. What are some
Yes.
other things that you guys have tapped into or things that have helped you get to where you are today?
Well,
this is more Teresa's thing. She does a lot of the office stuff, so
You're,
she was trying to help us in that area and did a lot. I mean, a lot of research before we made a choice. with
Actually,
this.
working capital, it was one of the things that we needed the most.
yeah.
In order to, provide the whole cycle for production, from getting the car, pay labor, and get supplies and everything that you need. It was actually a good chunk of money that
Yeah.
we didn't have.
Right.
And also to buy some equipment that we needed, as well as continue growing in the marketing and digital media. So our credit is not perfect. And we knew that we have to build a relationship with banks. So at the beginning, the first year, nobody will see us.
Yeah.
We had to
Yeah,
start
they don't even look at you.
Right.
yeah, we have to start what we have, and then still the numbers wasn't what they were looking at. From the SBDC, they recommend me to ACE. Actually, since the beginning, my TEPEC, she was helping me a lot through that. So we decided to start the application, and we got a loan.
Yeah.
They
Now, that
helped
was
us a
after though.
lot.
That was after many. I mean, Teresa probably presented 10 different things to me that, you know, and she's already probably called out 10 of them that the interest rates are just absolutely off the charts.
Crazy.
You know,
Yes, it's
and
absolutely
you
crazy.
cannot do that to yourself. I
Right.
mean, you're just burying yourself. You need to start doing weeklies,
Well, and
weekly
you're
loan, you
eating
know,
your margins.
payment loan.
Right.
So-
Exactly. So we went through the whole process, and actually in December 2016, we got our first loan.
Yeah.
We help us a lot with moving cars too, and not just that. I do really appreciate the help. Like I was having with SBDC at the beginning, they will take me through the whole process from register the company to open and everything. Now with ACE, and they provide with workshops that
Yeah.
I needed,
Mhm.
because you are so concentrated trying to work on your business that you forget, you don't realize there are other aspects like insurance that we were talking the other
Right.
day,
Mhm.
and you just wearing different hats.
Well, and you don't even know how many hats. Like I talk to
Exactly.
entrepreneurs all the time who say, I have to do this. I'm like, yeah, you got to
Yes.
do that. And you're all of a
And-
sudden expected to be an expert at it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Teresa on the
And-
way over was explaining to me what my job was, or what, if I was asked what that was, what I did, and what hers was. And I kind of looked at her, I'm like, so I have two things?
And I had like 50.
Yeah, she's like, I do this, this, this,
These are
this,
my
this,
things.
this, this, this.
Yes.
These are your little things.
Yeah, this is what you do, this and this.
But actually, go back to the workshops and stuff, how you're going to talk to somebody about your business in 20 seconds. And there was a speech seminar that we had, and also about insurance. And now I have invited to another one about marketing.
Yeah.
So it's not just here, get the money and pay me. This is here. What can I do for you?
Yeah,
Right.
they're really trying to help actually make your
And
business
that is
successful. I mean,
Awesome.
Yeah.
you don't see that. Like I said, the other ones, what we saw was, this is what the loan is. This is what you're going to pay per week, and it's coming. You don't hear no help, no nothing.
Right.
Just where's my money?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just sort of very one-sided.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because what ACE does that is similar to some of the high-tech companies you hear about where they go and raise money. The VCs are very interested in making you successful. So they'll put
Exactly.
people in place. And you don't hear that on the new entrants or new people who are starting
Mhm.
smaller businesses. It's banks like, yeah, we'll give you a huge interest rate, but
Mhm.
we're not part of your business. We don't understand your business
Yeah,
at
bank
all.
is. I think traditional banks are more interested in your banking with them.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, as far as
Your
them helping you,
assets.
they only need you when you're successful. They don't
Right.
really need to help you on the way up.
I've
They
said that
want your
so many times.
successful money.
Exactly.
I'm like, I can work
Yeah.
with you when you
Yeah.
don't. I don't.
And
need
even
you.
if you're not successful, if you got a lot of charges,
Yeah.
they love those. That's
Yeah.
what they live off of. I mean, just look at their numbers. That's what
Yeah.
they make their money on.
Yeah.
They're not making it on interest loans.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on the other end, you have the entrepreneur trying to,
Build
success in
something.
a business and working on it and so stressed about it, but still trying to do something out of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So future, what's next for you guys?
Future. What I see is that the percentage that we had with the three services, if you will, that we provided, what is mechanic repair, collision repair, and selling cars. We were like 60, or probably 40, 40, and 20. We have realized that actually flipping cars is given more and faster
Yeah.
way to recoup.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we're trying to move that
Really,
probably
it's
to
the same.
40%.
It's almost the same thing as actually
Yes.
repairing, because we can buy them and let's say a little more needy car it's got scratches and dings and stuff. We don't want a car that's been an accident, huge accident or anything, but we can recondition it a lot further than what typically a used car dealer is going to.
Exactly.
Used car dealer is going to turn a certain amount. It's not very much. It's what they generally do, and we, on the other hand, can turn basically all the retail labor back. So
exactly, because we have the facilities, I have the guys, I have the knowledge, I have everything. So
well, and it's a good, I look at companies as recurring revenue, which is probably like your services,
Sure.
potentially some of your collision, but then you need project too, because project's where you make the bigger numbers.
Exactly.
And then you can use that to invest back in the business, but you got to have both. And sometimes companies do one or the other.
One without the other,
Yes.
you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
We've had to have sales. Had to.
Exactly. And sometimes, like the previous month, when everyone was thinking about graduations and stuff, it was slow for us. But still, we could turn more cars.
That's right. It lets you
Just-
diversify and use
Exactly.
your staff.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
can't
That's what
just, be in one side and that's it. Because if that fails, then
Very smart. You guys are very smart. So talk to me. I would take 1 minute to talk about, so you guys are married
Mhm.
and working together.
oh no.
Oh yeah.
How do you keep that balance? Is that
We don't. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. There's no balance there. I mean,
should
you
be,
can
though.
really care about somebody a whole bunch with everything you got, but man, when you come to putting them together in a job together, every little thing is fragile.
Yeah.
Your feelings are more fragile. You could spend your time doing this more wisely is like, major spanking for you.
Right.
And the last
And
thing you
you
want
have
to
to
do is have somebody do that.
Yeah, you gotta
especially your wife.
define working style? My wife and I have worked at companies before, and
Mhm.
she's a why do today what I could do tomorrow, and
Oh
I'm
boy.
a
Why
not do it today kind of person. So
Right.
we have to come to these agreements about how that
That's
works,
the-
right? And what
that's
that
gonna be
looks like.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I love your story.
Thank you.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
awesome. I think it's awesome that you were his cheerleader at the beginning, and then you were a little scared once he decided to do it. So,
Yeah.
but thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we didn't talk too much about cars, so I was able to kind of hang with you, which was good.
You did okay with the car. I mean, everything's fine. No
So,
problem.
so we've been talking with Mark and Teresa Bishop. They're the owners of Just Right Auto. You've been listening to Ace's Best Stories. Join us every week as we bring you another story of someone just like you who's decided to go out on their own and start their own business, because it is not that hard. It's a little scary and it is tough, but you can do it too. Until next time, I'm your host, Eric Holtzfall.
We create jobs and make entrepreneurial dreams come true. ACE, Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs, is a nonprofit community lender specializing in small business loans coupled with business advisory services. These are the stories of those businesses we've helped reach success and claim their American dream.